technically the biggest deal that I ever closed in my personal sales career. I was closing a deal with Sprint Wireless 2016, and I was dealing with the president of Sprint. So I was 29, I think, at the time. So like young kid walking into the president's office, and I was walking in with a 7-figure contract. And this is like years in the making. And like, this is like the moment I get to sit down at the table. And it was more of like a digital online product. And I sit down with them and I'm like, here's the deal. And he looks at it and kind of like winces and like takes off his glasses, leans back and says like, did you take economics in college? And I said, no, I actually dropped out so I could, pursue sales. He said, cool, I'm going to give you economics 101 real quick. And he grabbed like a little sheet of paper or whatever, and he drew a graph, and then he drew a linear line. That's what I remember from school. It's just that straight up line from corner to end. And he said, if you were selling me hot dogs, no matter how many hot dogs I buy, the price just goes up and up. Maybe I get a price break at 1,000 or whatever, but pretty much it's a tangible product, and that would be it. You aren't selling hot dogs. You're selling software, which I understand is more of a staircase. So you're asking for all the money that's at the top right of this graph, but really, like, we're kind of down here in price. So instead of this, let's slash it by 75%. You'll still make some money. It's still a profitable deal. And that's what I'd be willing to sign right now. And as those words left his mouth, that's where I realized what salespeople are. I realized, and I said, his name was Claudio. I said, Claudio, I respect and appreciate that. And, honestly, I could give you the whole thing for free. And honestly, I don't think it would cost anybody anything, because it's just, you're right. It's a username and a password into a system. And I'm willing to do that today. I'll just, instead of doing this 75% off, let's go 100%. But you call me, I don't pick up the phone. You need a meeting with me, I'm not going to be there. You want me to be involved, and you want other people in the company involved, and you want us to come along and support this the way that we have been for the last 2 years just to get to this table. We're going to need the full balance of this contract, and we're going to need you to agree to it. And that's where he realized that I realized what I bring to the table, and we ended up signing that contract, and I made the biggest commission of my life in that sales career. However, lesson number 2 is that we signed that contract on October 31st, 2016, Halloween. Greatest moment of my life, until I realized that deal, if I was going to get that deal and get paid for it that year and meet my bonus requirements for $188,000 bonus on top of the normal commissions on that deal, I needed some money in on that deal prior to December 31st. So the second close was me frantically panicking, because guess what? Large companies have net 60 terms. Mm-hmm. And they also had some type of clause in there that if they paid before that 60 days, they would be eligible for some type of discount, and that would ruin the finances of the deal, whatever. Point is that I'm frantically like wondering, like, when are we going to get this check? We have Thanksgiving, we have Christmas Eve, all these holidays. Net 60 is not going to work, and I'm going to miss out on a $188,000 bonus, which I wasn't willing to do. So second close, I called the president again, and I said, look, man, we've come to an agreement here. Obviously you want to see me win, right? He's like, yeah, dude, of course. This is a big win for you. I said, cool. Can I just be blunt with you? He's like, yeah. I was like, look, the one thing we both have in common is we both love cars, and he races cars and all this stuff, blah, blah. I said, I have a $188,000 bonus riding on getting the first payment of this contract in our office, in our accounts receivable, prior to December 31st. There's nothing in it for you. There's nothing in it for Sprint. There's nothing in it for literally anybody. I'm asking you if you could pull a favor with your, accounts payable or whoever's in charge of cutting that check. Could you do me a solid? Because this money is what I'd be using to buy my dream car, my Porsche 911 that I've always wanted since I was 4 years old. And he's like, dude, honestly, I appreciate you telling me this. I don't have control over writing the check, but I know people who do, and I'll do what I can. On December 29th, 2016, check arrived in the mail at the office, and I made a $188,000 bonus plus the commission on that deal.
That's amazing.
So the main lesson right there in the close, the two lessons are: one, know what you bring to the table. You're a human being. You're filled with more value than any product or service that you could sell. And close number two is sometimes good people just need to know what's in it for you so that they can do good things for you.
Yeah, that's right. Open, honest, and that builds the relationship. That builds the trust. And I love how you kind of reverse engineered the value, right? You told him you were going to close on it. He's like, he was doing his thing, obviously, as he should. And you said, no problem. I'll give it to you for free, but what's going to happen when this, and this happens? And by saying that, what I love is you've literally built the value in, and you've kind of engaged his brain in a whole different way. And that's fantastic, Jordan. That's a fantastic close. I'm so glad I asked you that question. And
that's a good question.